Now on CoastTV News.
Another hurdle for offshore wind off Delmarva's coast. What the Trump administration is saying about the project's future.
You can only go in up to your knees while Ocean City beach restrictions are still in place.
A quiet patch of green. Milford neighbors debate a development here as the city talks townhomes.
Despite Aaron's departure, we still have rip current risk in our area. I'll pinpoint where coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
Offshore wind facing uncertainty off the coast of Delmarva. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with the Trump administration's plans to withdraw approval for the wind farm planned off our coast.
It all came in a court filing Friday. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi submitted a filing in a pending case in the U.S. District Court in Delaware. CoastTV News reporter and anchor Kristina DeRobertis is in the newsroom. Kristina, Bondi argues that a case against the federal government and U.S. Wind should be stayed.
Yes, and Bondi is making that argument because she says the feds plan to revoke approval of a U.S. wind permit in Maryland, a permit that would be necessary for construction to begin on more than 100 wind turbines about 10 miles off the Ocean City coast. And the project has faced pushback for years now, with several moves in recent months from the federal government, the Worcester County government, into the towns of Ocean City and Fenwick Island to try and delay and stop it from happening. The Attorney General said in that filing the plan is to pull U.S. Wind's approval in Maryland no later than September 12th. And we are getting reaction from U.S. Wind. A spokesperson in a statement today said, quote, "Our construction operations plan approval is the subject of ongoing litigation, but we remain confident that the federal permits we secured after a multi-year and rigorous public review process are legally sound," unquote. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kristina. Now, of course, wind turbines have a big history here on our coast. Let's take you back to a case in December when the Sussex County Council denied a conditional use request that would have allowed U.S. Wind to build an electrical substation near the Indian River power plant. The council voted against the substation, and as time has passed, locals have stated that substation would have negative impacts on Sussex County. However, this same case was the subject of state legislation, which essentially would overturn that denial. Some saw it as major government overreach. That is being figured out right now.
The red-nosed swimming flags are still flapping in the wind along Ocean City beaches. On Monday, beach goers were only allowed to go into the water up to their knees, though there is an exception for professional surfers, according to Beach Patrol. Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zapay is live in Ocean City. Kevin, the Beach Patrol is also dealing with another challenge. They're understaffed right now.
Charlie, restrictions are currently in place along the Ocean City beach. And according to the Beach Patrol, it's mainly due to two factors: strong rip currents and fewer lifeguards. Brian Ventura woke up at 5 a.m. this morning to drive all the way to Ocean City for a beach day. But he was disappointed when he found out he couldn't go all the way in the water.
The lifeguards just kept stopping us from trying to go deeper into the water.
It may be annoying to some, but according to the Ocean City Beach Patrol, dangerous rip currents are still a problem. And that's why swimming restrictions are in place.
I was pretty bummed out when I wasn't able to go that deep in.
According to the Beach Patrol Captain Butch Arbin, swimmers were limited to ankle-high water on Sunday. And on Monday, that limit was extended just a bit further, up to their knees.
The policies we put in place are really to try to keep everyone safe.
Visitor Vincent Conti was disappointed.
I just wanted to experience getting hit by the waves. And I got called back when the water was up to my waist.
But rip currents are only half the battle. The OC Beach Patrol is also understaffed. According to Arbin, last week 90 lifeguard stands were being utilized. Today, just 30. That means each lifeguard has to watch a much larger area of ocean.
The guards are getting further and further apart, which makes it more difficult.
Ventura understands that safety is the #1 priority, but he's hoping the next time he wakes up early to hit the beach, those red flags are nowhere to be seen. The Ocean City Beach Patrol will continue to monitor the conditions before lifting the current restrictions. I'm Kevin Zapay, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
And let's go ahead and check in on our Coast TV poll for the day. We want to know, when you go to the beach, what do you usually do when it comes to the water?
Let's take a look at the results so far. Take a look at your screen. 43% say swim near lifeguards. 14% say swim wherever, and 43% say stay on shore.
If you haven't voted yet, if you want to vote, go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. On your screen now are some images of Chincoteague post-Hurricane Erin. Tons of tire tracks and construction vehicles around as they work to repair the parking lots. The hope is to have some access available before Labor Day weekend. Beach Road is still closed, but the gate to the Wildlife Loop will remain open so that drivers can get to Swans Cove. That trail about a half-mile walk, but it does lead to the beach. Access will be reassessed once parking at the Tom's Cove Beach reopens. Remember that lifeguards are only on duty on weekends this time of year. And we're taking a live look into the Lewis area. A gorgeous day out there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams. Paul, it's a new week. Set the stage.
Well, the bottom line here is that Erin is out of the way, but the problem she caused is still in the way. Our ocean view, so we can see just how tranquil conditions are right now, and we'll have clearing skies by 8 o'clock and 75. Winds are not necessarily a big problem, but they are swirling a bit for us at this present time, and we're in the 80s right now inland, 70s along the shore. But here's what's happening. Current waves were at 4 to 5 feet. Not too bad, but we still have small craft advisory that's active. That means we're watching out for 25-mile-per-hour winds. But here's the big deal. The RIPS current statement is still active at least until 8 o'clock for this evening. That means that the undercurrents can pull you deeper out in the water than you anticipate, not just for the folks that are in Sussex County, but Ocean City all the way down to Chincoteague. We'll talk more about what to expect for the next couple of days. Till then, back to you, Maddie.
All right, Paul, thank you. Plans for 39 townhomes are back in Milford. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live there. Emma, neighbors have mixed feelings about that number and the development altogether.
Maddie, this is the land that's been the subject of a lot of back and forth between neighbors, the property owner, and the city of Milford. Last week, the Planning Commission voted 4-1 to recommend that the City Council deny this development. Tonight, we'll know if the council decides to do that or not. The Board of Adjustment previously approved 32 variances to the plan, including density, width, and lot coverage. The landowner tells us his plan is already much less dense than it could be. He says 12 units per acre is the city's rule. His plan right now is at 8 units per acre. But some neighbors say they're still not sure about the number of homes that can fit on this property.
We feel that 39 is too many. If they wanted to build 15, 18, even up to 20, we would be more accepting.
The City Council meeting is tonight at 6:30. If approved, it still needs more approvals from the Fire Marshal's office and the Conservation District. If denied, the landowner tells us he's not giving up and he'll head back to the drawing board. Reporting live here in Milford, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
The president of the Delaware Botanic Gardens at Pepper Creek says the board of directors has approved a 3-year strategic plan. The Botanic Gardens in Dagsboro has welcomed over 40,000 visitors since 2019. They say the focus of this plan is to increase attendance through experiences, brand awareness, and also some finances. Anyone is welcome to go enjoy those 37 acres of nature there in Dagsboro.
Researchers are studying how artificial intelligence might be able to help patients with type 2 diabetes. Doctors say new technology uses patients' data from biosensors. It's then able to learn a patient's predicted glucose responses to various meals. That provides personalized recommendations.
We'll tell the patients based on their predicted response what they should consume for the meal, how many grams of carbohydrate, as well as the order in which the foods are consumed.
And according to the doctor, patients were able to get an average blood glucose level of 6.5%. This is without any glucose-lowering medications except for metformin, which is a relatively low-cost diabetes drug.
With President Trump's new tariffs just weeks old, nations are responding, and it could affect your bottom line, also your mailbox. Melanie Zanona shows us how today the president is announcing a new deal with South Korea and executive orders aiming to curb crime in the country.
President Trump building new bridges with the new leader of South Korea, as that country says it wants to build ships in the U.S.
We're going to go back into the shipbuilding business again.
The visit comes as South Korea has been struggling with Trump's new tariffs. But now President Lee Jae-myung is bringing a $150 billion package that includes building new shipyards. It's part of a deal the two leaders made last month. and Lee calls it Make America's Shipbuilding Great Again.
It's been more than 2 weeks since the president's import tax hit just about every country in the world. The administration has made some deals, including with the European Union and United Kingdom. But a deal with the world's second largest economy, China, remains elusive. Both sides agreed to pause stiff tariffs for another 90 days while negotiations continue.
I spoke to President Xi fairly recently, and at some point, probably during this year or shortly thereafter, we'll go to China.
But the tariffs are upending businesses around the globe.
The vast majority of my customer base is in the US.
That's because postal carriers will no longer ship overseas packages to the United States from some countries. Last month, the president closed a trade loophole that allowed goods up to $800 to come into the U.S. without paying a levy. But that changes Friday, and that means higher prices. For example, if your item is coming from a country with a tariff less than 16%, you'll pay an extra $80. 16 and 25% add $160. Over 25%, prepare to shell out another $200.
I can't pass this on to my customers. So as of last night, I've had to close my store completely.
Shippers don't know who will pay that tariff, the company or the buyer. Today, the president also signed a series of executive orders related to crime, including pushing courts to reconsider flag burning as a crime and trying to end cashless bail across the country. And after deploying and arming National Guard troops here in D.C. as part of his crime crackdown, the president is threatening to do so in other cities, such as Chicago and Baltimore. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
A time capsule is sealed in Georgetown. What's inside and what it means.
The hurricane threat is gone, but it's going to be a bit breezy and blustery on the beaches. More on that coming up.
But first, a portion of Ocean City under a boil water advisory. Where exactly and who it applies to? Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
If you live in Ocean City near 120th Street on the Bay Side, you're asked to boil water. That's because a water main broke on Coastal Highway today. It's recommended that anybody who is a water customer in that area boil any water that you would consume for food prep, teeth brushing, ice making, drinking, any of that. But according to the town of Ocean City, the water is totally fine for bathing and washing. You don't have to boil that.
Good to know. The Seaford Police Department and other area agencies are investigating a recent jump in stolen cars. According to the police, the majority of these thefts are centered around Kia and Hyundai brands. Now, you might recall there were TikTok challenges on how easy it is to steal these cars because authorities say they lack something called an immobilizer. Seaford Police tell drivers to please contact a dealer and check on any manufacturer updates or steering wheel lock programs.
Here's a look at your Bay forecast for Tuesday. We're looking for a high of 80, then we slip into the 70s and we stay there. I'll explain why that will be coming up. Although we have Aaron in the rear view mirror, before us the road is still a little choppy, so to speak. I'll explain to you what I mean by that in mere moments. In Lewis, we're at 86 degrees, 3-mile-per-hour winds, not a big deal. We stay clear for the rest of the evening as we slip into the mid-70s with clear skies at 9 o'clock. We're still a bit mild and warm for right now. Inland, we are really into the 80s. 84 to 86, that's the range. We're at 84 degrees in places like Millsboro, Georgetown, Delmar, Seaford, as well as Milton and Long Neck. Winds are whipping a little bit close to the shore, but mainly we're concerned about some winds offshore. A couple of things just to kind of keep in mind. Remember I said the road was a little choppy? Well, here's where that choppiness comes into play. Rip current statement for Lewis, Rehoboth, Bottom Hill, Ocean View, Fenwick Island. This means that we have still dangerous rip currents that could pull you deeper out into the water. So that's why the lifeguards are saying stay ankle height or maybe at your knees, because these currents can be very strong and pull you out. Now, this also applies in Ocean City all the way down to the south, where we had Kevin Zapay just did a report about that. It's staying in effect until 8 o'clock. Now, I'm going to take one moment for a public service announcement. The guards, the lifeguards are trying to save your life. Okay? Let's not ignore them. They see something on a daily basis that you're just out there enjoying for the moment. They see it every day. So please trust their judgment. They're only trying to keep you safe, not trying to ruin your fun. Small craft advisory in effect for tonight till about 10 o'clock along the shores as well. After we get into tomorrow, things are going to chill out a bit for us. This cold front is going to work its magic in such a way temperatures are going to settle into the 70s and stay that way. Now, because of that same cold front, we're going to have clear skies. So here's the irony. It's going to feel cooler, but the UV index is going to go up to very high in that category of 8. Now, it's not a 10, but it is an 8. So even though it's feeling cooler, you will need to wear sun block. 79 for the high in Georgetown for tomorrow. Winds out of the north in Cambridge and 78 degrees, mostly sunny skies, and will stay sunny in Pocomoke City, Snow Hill, and Berlin as temperatures stay in the upper 70s. Along the coast, we're looking at it continuing to stay in the winds pushing primarily out of the north. We'll start off in the 60s for Tuesday. By the afternoon, we're looking at maybe 80 at Long Neck, everywhere else in the upper 70s. Then for Wednesday morning, we start off in the 50s, and then we'll rise to the mid 70s after that. All that being said, here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We are expecting for to go from 80 down to 77, and then we're into 79 for a couple of days in a row. But you'll notice for the next 7 days in a row, we're not concerned about precipitation, and all of that wind and the deal with the rip currents, that should subside as we progress throughout the rest of the work week.
All right, thank you, Paul. As construction on the family courthouse continues in Georgetown, a very special commemoration, a time capsule was placed at the construction site. Here's a look at the items in that capsule before it was sealed. The annual report of 2024, some other documents. The new family courthouse is set to open in Georgetown at the end of this year. Tonight on the Delmarva Sports Network at 8 p.m., Pocomoke City boat docking, 10 p.m. post time, and at 10:30, the final score.
Coming up, the Trump administration pushing to end cashless bail. More on its definition and what this means for defendants. That's up next. Stay tuned on Coast TV News at 5. President Trump signed an executive order Monday that pressures jurisdictions to end cashless bail. Now, cashless bail is a way for defendants who cannot afford bail to be released while they're awaiting their hearing. The Trump administration views cashless bail as too soft on crime. Trump's order requests a list of other jurisdictions that have cashless bail policies. It also threatens to revoke federal funds or government-backed project approvals for the areas that don't end this program.
Thanks to this summer's weather, it could be a record year for corn farmers. The website Pro Farmer just finished its yearly 7-state crop tour. They project corn at a record 182.7 bushels per acre. But some areas in the country, of course, have experienced overly hot conditions and plant disease, so yet to be seen how that could affect the final yield. The U.S. is the world's largest producer and exporter of corn.
Listen to this, a new study finding that Mediterranean diet lowers the risk of dementia, especially with people with the APOE4 gene. Now, that's a gene that is a major genetic risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. The Mediterranean diet is plant-based, full of fish, veggies, fruits, and more. The diet also calls for little to no alcohol or red or processed meat. Researchers found that people with those two genes reduced their chances of developing dementia by at least 35% when following that Mediterranean diet.
The tech sector is among those now feeling the pain from AI. Investors say the rise of AI tools that can write and develop code is sending shares of software companies into a slump. For example, shares of Adobe are down 19%. There are questions as to whether AI will provide a meaningful move away from legacy companies like Adobe that have built long-time subscriber bases. And now a live look outside into Dover. One more check on the forecast after the break.
Coming up new on Coast TV News at 6, the state of Maryland will allow bikes to be on sidewalks. The whole story and how the people of Ocean City feel about this on Coast TV News at 6.
Let's take a look right now, courtesy of our Bay Health camera at this point. In Dover, we're holding at about 83 degrees right now. Dew point temperature is in the mid-50s, so it's a drying out of the atmosphere that's happening right now. A bit of a fall feel is about to envelop us throughout the rest of the work week. Winds are pushing out of the north primarily at about 9 miles per hour. We'll dip to 78 degrees with partly cloudy skies at 7 o'clock. Then as the sun goes down, we'll actually see a clearing that will occur. The cold front's pushing through, and so that's going to help out. Now, our umbrella giveaway winner, Minako Holland of Lewis, congratulations. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mendalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. We're looking pretty good, but a very fall feel as temperatures stay in the 70s.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.